which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you and welcome everybody. We'll dive right in. First thing on the agenda tonight is public comment. So if anybody has any public comment, Ms. Palmer.
I think pretty much everybody here knows me, but in case you don't, my name is Becky Palmer, and I've been living in Hampton for, as of March 4th, it will be 20 years that I've lived in this town. And yes, I am married to Pat. I understand that state budget cuts have put cities in a difficult position, and I appreciate the challenge that these council members have faced in balancing the budget under these circumstances. That being said, after watching last week's budget workshop, I had serious concerns about how two really important community assets were discussed, specifically how negatively they were discussed, those being the municipal band and the library. First, the municipal band. Hampton is home to one of the oldest municipal bands in not only Iowa, but the entire upper Midwest. The band provides free entertainment that draws visitors from surrounding communities into our town. These people eat at our restaurants and visit our gas stations. It gives high school students a great opportunity to earn silver cord hours. And we should also remember that the Friends of the Band Shell, which was created and run by band leadership, saved the city the significant cost of demolishing and potentially rebuilding a band shell when it was condemned in 2010. Second, the library. Our library is the culture and educational center for this community. It offers a wide range of programs for adults and for children, most at no cost to the public, along with essential services like notary service, printing and faxing, internet access, genealogy research, and many more. During the workshop, there was repeated focus on a possible $15,000 levy increase that the library may receive. Yet I didn't hear a single syllable about the over $30,000 in levy funding the library lost this year, or the over $70,000 in funding the library's lost over the last 2 years. I was also troubled that the library insurance and staffing costs were treated differently than any other city-owned buildings, which all receive full city support for upkeep and employees without this similar level of scrutiny. And not to steal Sully's thunder, but I was deeply concerned that no one at this table knew that library foundation funds cannot legally be used for the daily operations of the library. Both the municipal band and the library provide real, measurable value to Hampton. I found the dismissive tone toward their funding requests troubling and inconsistent with this council's stated goal of making Hampton a great place to live. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? If not, we will move on to the public library. Susie.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to get right to the point here. So I've given everybody kind of an FYI sheet on the foundation and the financial role it has played. I just went back to 2020, but I could, dig deeper if you want me to. So I did listen to the workshop last week, and I feel there are some real questions and concerns with the city council and the role of the foundation. So I thought I would just kind of go over this real briefly, and then I'd be glad to take, any questions, anybody has. So the foundation was established way back in 1989, so it's been around a while. I have listed the current officers. I've also listed the annual funding to the library's general budget since 2020, and I've included for 2026 how much I will be asking the foundation for. The foundation generally meets once a year, and that meeting is usually in May. So I will be asking for a $10,000 increase, and I just put pending approval. So the total funding, as you can see, is $210,600 from 2020. Additional funding is, we had to replace the lintels, the elevator repair. That very expensive part I had to get for the elevator was $20,000. I wrote a grant for 10, and the foundation kicked in 10. the North Wall project, wrote another grant. 13,000 is what the foundation contributed, and then wrote another grant for the west door, and I'm getting half from the Barkema Trust. So the other half will be paid for, by the foundation. And then I went way back to the last big project the library did, which was 2017. It was the courtyard and parking lot project. The city of Hampton contributed 50,000. The library itself did a capital campaign and raised 64,000. And then the foundation, again, paid the bulk of that project. The mission of the foundation is to financially assist the library with projects and/or issues that occur outside the library's yearly operations budget. And then I went ahead and listed the immediate needs of the library, which are always, it's an old building. So this is kind of the prioritized immediate needs of the library. Obviously, the bid from 2020 with the windows will have to be rebid, and that's going to be more. I did do a tuck point bid last year when they were working on the Methodist Church. I had the tuck pointer come over and kind of give me kind of a rough estimate, and he said about 20,000 for that. And then we continue to have a moisture issue in the children's department. As of right now, the library board has earmarked their Carnegie gift of $10,000 for that. Now, we could dig in, and that could be a big project, we don't know yet. And then the last thing is the interior painting. Nothing has been painted since 2008. And we do have several areas, of concern. The last thing I would talk about is, and I've mentioned this before, we all know the levy obviously is a big one. We are getting funding at, 75%, 50%, 25%, and then, the 30,000 will be gone. And then 40% decrease from the supervisors in 2024. So we go in as a consortium, so it's all 6 county libraries. So they cut the entire 6 libraries 40%. And then the Hampton Library was cut an additional 10% because they changed the formula for distribution. So that total is $34,640. That was immediate, to our budget. The levy is gradual, but, every year we got to look at this, what can we do? What can we do? So for a total, from 2024, we are losing, $64,000 in what we would normally have in our budget. So that's kind of, I just thought this maybe would do a better job of explaining the role that the foundation does and how it is very, very much needed for the library. And they just they're really good stewards of the gift money we have received. That being said, when I ask for money, there's criteria I have to meet. Obviously, I can't go in and say, I need $5,000 for paper towels. I can't go in and say, I need money for salaries. They will say that is a yearly operations budget, and that's not their role. So, anybody have any questions?
Right. Any comments, questions
So
for Susie?
how much money does the
Amos?
foundation have?
That, I actually cannot really say because I don't know. That would be a question for one of the directors, probably Ron Shermer,
Are
who
they,
is the
do they
treasurer.
have annuities or what, stocks,
So-
bonds?
Yeah, it is invested, I don't know if it's Edward Jones or who it is, but it's invested in a financial institution like that. And they, that's what they do. They invest it, and I only hear once a year.
What happened to the farm ground that was donated?
Okay, so yes, the Bruce Norman estate, okay, so that finally was settled. That was a 2-year process at least. So the ground was in Canada.
Really?
We split that with, I don't know, 4 or 5 other agencies. Yeah, it was because Bruce Norman was not a Canadian citizen, the Canadian Department of Revenue, there's like a whole bunch of red tape. So thankfully, Art Cady who is also on our foundation, was also the attorney for that. So the funds were finally received. I did get a notice from Art, and of course, then that goes to Ron Shermer, and I find out in May, you know, what they did with it, or how they.
Is that designated for anything?
No. Well, we had talked last year at last May's meeting. As you can see, the windows would be our next. Those windows are approaching 50 years old. The lentils we put in buys us time, but the windows will have to be replaced. And that will be a significant amount of money. And the foundation did talk about the Dorman estate and how that would be a wonderful, you know, thing to do with that. But I think, you know, if I were to recommend, I would say, let's do the windows, let's do the tuck pointing, let's do this before it gets worse.
Thank you.
The windows, what windows? Wasn't there a big project to do?
Yeah, so the courtyard project,
Those are
the
done.
the east side, that curved area,
That's all
those
done.
have all been
Okay.
replaced. So it is the remaining,
Okay.
those big windows, yeah.
Yes, I had a question,
Sure,
Susie, and maybe you've already answered it, but
sure.
I understand that there's only specific things that you can spend this funding money for,
Right.
not for general operations.
Right, the foundation's
So-
role, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and you haven't approached the foundation yet, but you're asking for a $10,000 increase.
Right, so they are approached every year, every May. I ask for money, and as you can see, I've kind of put that down. This year will be an additional $10,000 to my operations budget.
Okay. Can you tell me the process and to why that specific amount that you asked for just $10,000 or?
Well, I'm kind of, the supervisors, we always ask the supervisors because we are actually funded by the county. So the supervisors, we ask the supervisors, we ask the city council. Then I kind of penciled in 10,000 based on what if we receive anything from either entity. So that could be adjusted. Right now, I'm at the 10,000. And like I say, that could be adjusted, you know, it's a long time between now and May.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I guess my last question would be, because as you see that, you know, the building itself requires work, you know, all the time. So if the foundation, the library foundation was not in existence, who would bear the responsibility of keeping that building up?
That was actually going to be my question next.
The city owns the building.
Right. Okay, so it would be the city's responsibility.
So if the foundation kicks in that money, that's a savings to the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
What day do they meet in May? And where's
They
that?
meet, they get their financials the end of April. So we can never meet before Ron Shermer has received the financial information. It's usually the second week in May.
At the library?
Yes, Yep.
Is that meeting, do they have a posting for it?
it is a private foundation.
Is there a secretary on there?
I'm the secretary. I have no voting rights, I'm not a member, but I do
They
take.
don't even publish the minutes.
No, they're, like I say, they're a private foundation, so. But no, I do the minute, that's my only role, is I take the minutes. And I set up the meeting and make the coffee and, you know, other, yeah.
So if you walk in off the street, you can't go to it.
Well, I don't know, Ron, are you familiar with private foundations? Okay,
No.
okay. So I don't know, we've never had to post like I have to do for the trustee meetings, so
Thank you.
I don't know. But I can find out for you too.
Okay.
Any other comments? I think I would just add probably just a couple of notes that I've put down. You know, that the city, you know, we contribute to the library.
Correct,
As much
yes.
as we can, of course.
Yes, yes.
But we also, there's other funds that we contribute to for the library. Health and dental insurance, property insurance, stuff like that. So the number that we're contributing is actually much larger than what
Right, yes,
10,000 or the
Right.
$95,000
Right.
is. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody's
right,
looking at that as well.
right.
Um,
And you know, we are a department of the city, we are city employees, so,
mhm.
you know,
Yep. So, I mean, we've increased the funding a few times. 2024, we increased by $5,000.
I think it was 2,000, oh,
2026, we increased by 2,000
okay, yep,
Yep.
that's what I
last time.
And of course, you know,
Um,
we're always very appreciative of any and all funding.
Sure.
You know, we really are. It's
Sure.
very appreciated.
And I think the big thing that's weighing on everybody is this property tax.
Right,
We don't know what's going to happen with that yet. So we've got to balance our budget.
Right.
You know, which Ron does a great job
Yep,
of doing
yep.
that. So we kind of got to give and
Yes.
take here.
yeah.
And-
Oh, no,
and
no, I agree
so
with you.
We don't want to take anything from anybody.
Right.
And I appreciate the library. You know, I
Thank you.
appreciate everything that, you know, that goes
Right.
on in there. But I just want to make sure that we're all on the same team.
Right.
Basically.
Right, yeah.
So
And,
we
you know,
want to make sure.
My goal tonight was just to give you
Mhm.
a little more clarity on the role of the foundation and the fact that, you know, they're very good about funding me, you know, I shouldn't
Yep.
say me, the library. They're very good about funding the library, especially extra projects, or especially, you know, if things come up like that elevator.
Sure.
You know, that was just, I mean, we had to get it fixed now.
Yep.
They were going to give us too long without a working elevator before
Right.
we would have had some other issues. You know,
And
So,
I definitely appreciate this that you handed
Yes,
out.
yeah,
because
I mean,
that sheds a lot of lights on stuff. You know,
Yes,
for us,
yes.
for me anyway.
Right.
I don't know about anybody else, but,
and I think the biggest decision the Board of Trustees is going to have to take a look at, because of, you know, our decreases in funding that happened in such a short amount of time, they're going to have to make some hard decisions concerning, you know, services. There are going to be some services changed.
yeah.
You know, we're in the process of, you know, thinking up some ways to,
Yeah,
Save
and I
the
know you
money.
guys, I think in your, I don't have it right in front of me, but.
Oh, my
Where you
presentation.
guys have done, made some
yes,
things you're gonna do. but
Yes,
they
we've
haven't
already
been done
started.
yet. So if we're
Yep.
starting in on that, you
yeah,
know.
obviously with, we didn't replace a part-time employee.
Sure,
You know, those sort of things.
Yeah.
You know, the next step, possibly reduction in books, reduction in hours, you know. I mean, reduction is a word pretty common when you're faced with, you know, budget cuts.
oh, yeah,
You know how it is.
yep,
Yeah.
so.
Is
so-
there any idea what's going to happen with the supervisors?
I did get a letter, pending any, you know, unforeseeable issues. They are funding us 5%. That is the entire consortium of 6 libraries. The Hampton share will be 2,300 increase. So yes, you know, that's pending any unforeseeable. So that was, you know, good news. We're, like I say, we are, you know, grateful for any extra funding. You know, and then the trustees will take everything under consideration when this part is over, and then we will have to make some determinations going into the next fiscal year. And, you know, the year after and the year after, and, yeah. Yep.
Yep, and I, you know, the library levy, you know, it's being cut a little bit here at a time.
Yes, yeah,
But,
it's
you know,
not as
the
painful as.
good part about it, that
Yeah.
is, we still got some coming in
We
from
do.
that, so.
It's not as painful as
Right.
the supervisors,
Right. Could've
because
been a
that
lot
was
worse.
all at once.
Correct.
Now, there is some legislation having to do with exempting libraries from levies. It never even got out of committee last year. I don't know how it's gonna fare. I mean, I'm not looking for it to, but, you know,
Right.
it might. It'd be wonderful. I mean, like, that'd be, you know, the library would win the lottery again, so that part would be nice. Yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah, that part would be great.
All
Yeah.
right. Anybody else? Mr.
There was,
Lehman.
Barry.
there was legislation pending about libraries sharing with schools. What's the status of that?
Well, that,
They were trying to end it, or?
yes, yes. There are actually currently 4 legislative bills that are directly related to library and/or funding for the library that, you know, we in the library world are all watching. And it puts libraries in a bad place because we're not political, but yet we have to be now. You know, because we're not political, we don't represent a political party. We just want people to check out books, use our library, but, you know, these 4 bills right now are, and one of them would be the partnership with public schools.
All right. Anything else? Don't see anything.
Okay?
Thank
Well,
you very much.
Thank you very
for
much,
coming
and
in
my door's always open
sharing
if you
that.
have any questions or concerns, you know.
Yep.
I'll
I
be
know
at
where
the
you
library.
work.
You know where I work? Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Susie. Next item on the agenda, the fiscal year 27 budget considerations. I'll turn that over to Mr. Dunt.
Thank you, Mayor. You have 2 handouts in front of you. One is the certification page, which shows all the levies for fiscal year 27. And then down in the bottom, on column C, rate at the bottom, $14.85 would be the proposed levy. That's a decline of $1.06 or 6.6%. Due to the increase in valuations, that would actually still result in a $57,000 increase in total revenue for derived from property taxes, or 2.9%. The second page is what I call a max levy. They don't really call that anymore, but a few years ago when it was initially created, that's what it was called. This is a notice of a hearing that will go in the paper eventually. This will be the first public hearing that would be held, and so I just wanted to review this with you. This shows in the first column a lot of different categories under Iowa Department of Management, and then in the second column, current year certified property tax. That's for the current fiscal year. That shows all the numbers for the current fiscal year that we are in. The taxable valuations, the different levies, revenues, and things like that. The middle column is effective property tax for fiscal year 27. That would be if we were to only look to collect the same revenues from property tax that we currently do. And then the far right column, budget year proposed, that's what we're proposing on this first page. We went over at 1485 as a levy. That's what we are proposing, and then the corresponding numbers, revenues, and taxable valuations. At the bottom there, this form devised by the Department of Management gives 2 tax rate comparisons versus current versus proposed. One for residential property with an actual assessed value of $100,000 in the current fiscal year, and then showing a 10% increase in that value up to a $110,000 increase. It's showing what the percent change would be should we adopt this budget. So that's showing a 3.58% decrease for a residential property in that hypothetical scenario. The second hypothetical scenario shows for commercial property with an assessed valuation of $300,000 in the current fiscal year, and then $330,000 in fiscal year 27, and that would show, as our proposed levy, it would show a 3.63% increase for a commercial property in that hypothetical scenario. As I said, this page will be the first one, the first public hearing. We will have 2 public hearings on our budget. This will be the first one. I just wanted to present that. And in next month, we're gonna, or later this, let me look quick. calendar. So on February 26th, at our meeting, that's a Thursday, we will set a date for a public hearing on that proposed max levy. And so we would set a date for the hearing, which would be March 26th. We would then publish this, and then notices would go out, and we'd have that first hearing. And then after that, we set a date for a public hearing on the final budget. Any questions on that?
I had a question about, let me get my glasses on. The local government property valuation paper. Oh, I guess, yeah, it is. Okay, you got operation and maintenance of public transit. It's obvious we don't have any public transit.
Yeah,
We've got an airport, so what's the airport authority?
that comes under that very first, it comes under the very first one called Consolidated General Fund,
Okay. So why do
our
they,
airport expenses.
why do they even have it? For bigger airports?
Yeah. Yeah, this basically is a state form that, yeah, it's one size fits all sizes of cities.
Not really.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Dunt?
Yeah, any other budget-related
Budget.
questions? The next thing that I would have after that, if there's any other questions?
Go ahead. Okay. All right, not hearing any, we will move on. Thank
Uh,
you. Yep.
One item regarding the schedule of meetings. We have a few items that we need to discuss in closed session, and sometimes in the evening after everyone's had a long day of work and we come in here and it can get long. So want to run this up the flagpole. We have a few items that we're going to go in closed session to discuss, and I'm proposing that maybe we consider doing so on a Saturday morning, and I'm wondering if February 21st, Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, it would, if there's consensus that would work, for the council to meet in closed session to discuss a few different items.
Not hearing any description
Fine
yet.
with
Go ahead.
me. I'm looking at Jerry,
It doesn't work
wondering
for me.
if that
No,
is not
no,
gonna
no,
work
I
for
got a
you,
business
because
to
that's
run.
the night of the chamber dinner.
That's the week, well, that's the weekend
Yeah,
before.
that's
That's the next
before that.
weekend would be the meeting.
That's this weekend.
So,
Right.
so no Saturday morning would work for you?
I'd have to hire somebody to come in and run my business to do
Okay.
that.
All right, I'm just asking.
It's difficult.
Okay, so we can look to do an evening meeting. So,
Mondays and
It-
Tuesdays always work for me.
Mondays and Tuesday evenings? Okay,
Whatever, even mornings if anybody can do that.
yeah, I don't know, okay, mornings won't work for Kristen, okay.
Mhm.
So, how about Tuesday, the 17th? In the evening, or starting at 5, or whatever works for you all, 5:30, 6, whatever. Or I'm open to suggestions too.
Yep. Anybody?
Evenings always work best for me. Yeah, I always wish we could start city council at 5 o'clock.
Well,
So if we could,
The
I'd be happy
17th
to
would
start
be,
early.
would be an
5, 4.
off meeting with a week for the rest of it, so everybody's good with the 17th? We got it.
But I'll make it work. That's
Okay.
it. It's Columbus meetings. But I can make it work.
What about time-wise? What'd you say? I mean, I come in at
You
3 if
suggested.
you want.
Can anybody do 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, or 5 o'clock, I mean,
Works till 4, so.
the 6,
6 is fine.
5, 5:30, anybody?
How about 5:30? Gives me time to go home.
5:30 on the February 17th.
Sounds good.
City comment, City Council May Chambers.
Yeah, and this is, so I appreciate your flexibility on that and consideration. But we just got a few things that have been on the, coming down that we need to discuss, so,
Yep.
okay.
All right, if everybody's good with that, we will schedule that for the 17th at 5:30. We'll knock them all out.
Thank you.
All right? Well, that's the last item I had on there. So, anybody else, we'll just adjourn the meeting. Thank you.